being recorded.
That's right. You heard her. Welcome to the call. Natasha, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's having a lovely evening. As Tim was mentioning, we're really going to talk about our tax equity and discharge. I asked that everybody bring their questions, but of course, be pleasant, be nice, nothing ugly. This is for entertainment purposes only. We're not here to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that, so please don't get offended. But again, just if you don't understand something, we just ask that you do it politely. And we'll try our best to actually answer them in accordance with what we know. So with that, Tim was talking about, I actually took, and I needed a new truck because my SUV took a nosedive on me. So what I done outside financing. I went to my bank, I got it, approved for a loan, and then I went and got my truck. So my next step is actually going to be discharging it. I'm still in that stage. I've taken the classes on how to do that. Of course, I've listened to.
Hold on, Natasha. You didn't just walk in with the 1099-A and flash it around like a blank check and say you're Natasha Jordan.
No, actually, I didn't. Well, because
it wasn't your day.
One, I think they would have looked at me like I was crazy. There you go. And I've watched all the other kind of people on there from this name and that name talking about discharging and stuff. And I've never actually seen them with proof actually either videotape it or say, hey, this is XYZ. I went and done that. Here's my proof. Here's my security agreement. Here's what I did. Wow. And it never sounded right. And just, when you get that feeling in your stomach is like something ain't right or too good to be true, then 9 times out of 10 it is. But yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Well, let's break that down. So you went through and this is stuff I'm going to be talking about in the upcoming tax equity and discharge class, which by the way is on the 23rd. It's in a couple of days. I've got 3 seats left. That's it. It's going to be closed after that. So if you guys are interested in getting in on this class and really understanding how the private side of all this stuff works, okay? It doesn't mean you're going to turn into a lizard or anything silly like that. It's just managing a part of your life that we're not used to managing, okay? And if you have the right vehicle, you can literally go anywhere. So except for the moon, you're not going there. I don't care what kind of vehicle you have. But outside of that, you can pretty much go anywhere. So this is all about vehicle. And what's going to happen is that we're going to talk about in the class the division of the note, because when you purchase a vehicle, the note and the application do this. And when that happens, that means there's a discharge of funds. So what that means is don't sit around and get upset about it, Natasha, although some people do, but you don't want to, okay? You got to look at it like an opportunist. You got to look at it and say, how can I make that work for me? And so what we're going to be talking about in this class is how do we move in that area? Because here's what happens, Natasha. They already know, the IRS knows that somebody went to the Treasury and got paid on that note. They know that. And so what it boils down to is, are you going to be smart enough to go get your tax credits or not? In this class, we're going to be talking about retrieving those tax credits and actually getting those tax credits back. And, a tax credit is like a prepayment on your taxes already. So if somebody threw, how much was the truck? 40, 70, 50? How much was it? If you don't mind me asking.
60,000.
So she got herself a $60,000 truck. Well, we're going to talk about the security agreement that's involved with that. We're going to talk about the performance of the security agreement, because the performance is you doing the payments, is you making those payments. So we're going to talk about how to assess that part of it. We're also going to talk about how to assess, and when I mean assess, that means to capture it, so this stuff isn't falling through your basket. Because here's what happens, everybody. When they see all this other traffic that's happening on you, then they expect those notes to come back in. But the problem is, in America, we're all stuck in our infancy. And so all we have is our little tax ID numbers. And all they do is ride the tricycle around the kiddie pool. They don't do much. So when when we start stepping into these other places, like you start stepping in commercial commerce, you start stepping into transmitting utilities, you start stepping into these areas. When you start moving in these areas, what you find is that you're moving in commerce. And then at that point, under HJR 192/1933, you and you over there too have a responsibility, and Natasha as well, have a responsibility to the government to report those things to them so that they can, what class? Discharge the debts. Isn't that what everybody's saying? But they're not, are they? Because they're not understanding how to make this big circle. In this class, we're going to be talking about how to make that circle. We're going to be talking about the platform that you're going to need to actually do it. And what makes me so smart is I've been doing it. I've been doing it since 2016. I did over 6 digits last year with no dependents, only just head of house. And somehow I got a tax return back. How did I do that? Because of all the assessments. Because I captured everything else that went through that I purchased. We're going to be talking about taking this car deal, like Natasha went through, and we're going to completely dissect that entire transaction, all of it. And we're going to show you what you need to assess. And what you're going to find out is when you're watching the ball and you know what you need to assess, you're going to get to double dip this stuff too. Doesn't it just upset you when people say that? Oh, look at the banks. They're double dipping you. Oh, they're doing this. And, you know, right about that time, you feel your receding hairline just getting further off the back of your head, right? Yeah, that's just not true. I know, right? It's a tough day over here, man. Trust me. Look at it happen to me. No, I'm kidding. It makes you feel that way. But the reality is that we have an opportunity to cure those things. So what happens is when we don't assess all of our taxes, all of you guys that are saying, oh, taxes are illegal, they're all voluntary, you know, and I want to talk about that too for just a second, Natasha. Have you heard that where they say taxes are voluntary?
Yes, I have. And how you can fill out a form being a national person and you don't have to pay taxes because they are voluntary. And I'm like, okay, that I want them to do in trouble with the IRS.
Yeah, no. We're going to be talking about that breakdown, and that's somebody that's definitely drinking the sauce. Go ahead.
Hey, I did not know you were having class tonight. I thought you were having the redo for the mail class, so I just jumped in to see that. Are you having your tax class?
Okay, so the tax class is going. Thank you for jumping in. I'm glad you're here, Mark. So on the tax class is going to be the 23rd from 6 to 10 p.m. And tomorrow night from 6 to 8 p.m. we got a little class. But this class is going to be the firm mailing book class. Those of you guys that want to learn how to use the firm mailing book, it's a very inexpensive class. It's only $125. But I'm going to go through this. I have a really just a good little thing. Natasha really hooked me up this last class. And so we've got some good visual aids that are going to be in this class. They're going to show you how to fill out this firm mailing book so that you're operating in the proper jurisdiction. We're going to talk about why special appearances don't work. You ever notice that? Everybody that shows up, Matt, you ever notice that? Everybody that shows up on YouTube and they say, I'm here under special appearance. Nobody moves. Nobody cares. You notice that?
Absolutely, yes.
And the teachers promote it like when you show up under special appearance, like everybody's going to collapse and fall to their knees and say, oh, we're so sorry. And that just never happens. So we're going to break that down. We're going to show you how to use that. And this firm mailing book class, let me tell you, it's a very, very powerful class. That class is only $125. The tax equity and discharge class, I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to tell you everything that I know about discharging your debt. I'm going to show you how to dissect your transactions so you yourself are in the double dipping. Yeah. So don't get upset when they double dip on you. Be smart enough to figure out how you can double dip on them. That's what this class is going to be about. Anyway, Matt, I hope you'll be there. It'll be a good class.
Yes, yes. So this is the Monday night call. I'm sorry, Tim. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm glad you're here, man. It's totally
Yeah.
cool. You're welcome to pop in anytime on the Monday night call. I'm glad you're
All
here.
right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And welcome, Matt. I mean, that's totally fine. And if any of you guys have questions out there in TikTok land, blow it up, man. We'll answer you as best we can. Rudy, how are you, man? My Uncle Rudy is here on the call tonight. And I never have family on the call. But you know what? We got family today. Blessings to you and everybody at your house. I hope that Yahweh is blessing your homes and all that you guys do. I miss you, by the way. Anyway, welcome to the call, everybody. Glad everybody else is here. Some other things we're going to be talking about. Natasha, what else are we talking about in this upcoming class? Did I miss any? I know I missed something. Or did I lose her? No, she's here.
With our tax and equity discharge?
Yes.
Well, not just with vehicles, but I think you're also going to teach other revenues. What if you want to buy a house? How do you do that? What about all the other bills that you're paying? What about electric? What about water? What about if you have a dog that's a guard dog? How do you write that off? So I think there's so many aspects, and you said it best, is your everyday life that you actually start to look at and you assess it. How can I either save money? How can I write it off? How can I discharge it to where, I don't know about y'all, but I like keeping my money in my pocket and being able to use it for what I want, So,
well,
I mean,
and,
there is
and the bigger picture is your beneficiaries, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's where I save my money for my beneficiaries and to set them up for their generational wealth and stuff like that.
That's right.
So, yeah.
That's right. Well, I mean, and that's the most unselfish thing you can do. And that's just what that's how we roll around here. So if you guys are interested in taking this path, you want to learn how to do this properly, and you're tired of chasing your tail in a parking lot, and one day you're alive, the next day you're dead, the next day you're over here, now you're divorcing everybody over here. Come on. I'm going to take you to this class. I'm going to show you how to use all the tools. And this big ugly stick that you think they're beating you with, I'll show you how to take that stick from them, and you can go use it on them too. Totally. And it's all metaphors. It's all metaphors here. So there's not like you're going to go to their house and beat them up with a stick. I have to watch what I say here on TikTok. They get sensitive. Anyway, but if you guys have questions about tax equity discharge, let's talk about it. You guys want to talk about getting a car deal done? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how this can actually be done. I'm going to talk to you guys I'm going to tell you guys why at the end of the year, they're actually paying you to buy the car. Did you know that? When it's Ford Truck Month and we've got $10,000 off on all Ford F-150s today. When they start talking like that and you're like, oh my God, he's getting excited. You know what I mean? Because they got that voice, I know I spent 23 years in the car business. It's in there. It just won't come out. It just won't leave. But it's what's happening at the end of the year is that literally they're writing off the depreciation on the vehicles that are sitting there. So those rebates and things like that can actually go in your front pocket if you're playing this thing right. We're going to talk about how to do that. And for those teachers out there that are like that little fly that keeps circling my TikTok page telling people that he bought a house and he bought a car with a 1099A. If you didn't have an exchange of money, that's called accept for value, whether it be Bitcoin, whether it be a coupon, whether it be a service agreement, whether it be a security agreement. If you haven't exchanged and performed those things, you have no equity to fund these contracts. And we're going to be talking about how they're funded so that you can fund them. We're going to talk this time a little bit about negotiable instruments. I'm going to talk to you about how to get those funded. Those of you guys that are leasing, those of you guys that have leases, no, not Lisa. I'm talking about leases. I'm talking about these. Okay, apartment lease, like something like this. What if I told you could cash this? What if I told you could? I wouldn't be lying to you. And I'm going to show you that I do it, and I do it every single year. I'm going to show you guys how this stuff is done. This is going to be a very powerful class. We hope to have you guys in the class. And if there's any questions, man, just ask away. Totally ask away. I want to change direction and guys, we're still open to go back to this topic, but I want to talk about Brandon Joe Williams a little bit. You ready for that one? You guys want to talk about, I want to talk about Brandon Joe Williams. I do, because I have questions. Okay. No, I'm not going to beat the guy up. Natasha, what was your thoughts? You were like looking up stuff on him and you couldn't really, like, he wasn't really talking about anything, was he?
No, the only thing is I found one lady, and she was questioning the same thing that we were, you know, as far as exchanges, security agreements, how are you getting your note back? You know, all the same legitimate questions that we were. And I think at the end of it, you know, she was finally going to get in contact with him, but she hasn't updated as far as that. But as far as like typing his name in and looking for it, I don't know if they're deleting some of his videos or what it is, but it's not very easy to find on TikTok, maybe YouTube or something, but I don't know. That's all the furthest I've researched it.
Well, I did some searching on him, and what I noticed is that he doesn't really land the plane. Like you could sit there and like he's still talking about such and such and such and such, and then you'll like blow up like 30 minutes ahead, and he's still talking about petting the cat in the front yard or something or whatever. You know what I mean? It's something very insignificant, and it just seems like and I got a message actually on TikTok. One of the viewers out there said that, you know, he's been through a couple of his classes and they're just exhausted. And because it's just very overwhelming, it's too much. I don't know. They're just not getting it. And I'm not really getting it either with this whole special endorsement thing. I'm really not getting it. I don't see that. Have you heard about that? Anybody? Have you guys heard about it? Go ahead, brother. Have you heard about that? The special endorsement guy? So what he's saying is that if you go down and you make a special endorsement, an endorsement is spelled with an I, by the way, instead of E. So apparently it flies around and unlocks car doors now because it's spelled with an I. I don't know, whatever. But so, and then when you do a special endorsement, and I did look up what a special endorsement is. Basically, what it does is it stops the payment. It stops the instrument from being traded. And what happens in a car deal is that quite literally that happens is that, you know, it's assigned to the bank, and then you give them a security interest in your vehicle. See, this is the part that they're not showing and all of this stuff now. Because I spent so many years as an F&I manager, I'm going to tell you the first thing that you sign when you buy a vehicle is going to be your registration and lien paperwork. And the reason that they do that is because it gives us time to get in that capacity, it gives us time to get the rest of your paperwork together, to load up the back screen, see if there's any, you know, to look it over and see if, you know, there's more money to be made before we make our pitch. Okay. That's why this is done. Now, if you make the special endorsement and it doesn't look like anybody at the dealership is like, oh my God, they made a special endorsement. They know exactly what it is. And they just shook their hand and they walked out the door. It seems like kind of like a sneaky thing they're doing. Like, we're going to write it in here just this certain way. But Natasha, my issue is what's going to keep them from enforcing the instrument because they have a lien on the car. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how that's going to stop it. And not only that, if you're agreeing to doing this, and then now you're agreeing to do something else, you just breached the contract, and that's actually a refusal to pay. So I see some people being very ticked off in the next 90 days that have done this. That's what I see. What do you guys think?
Yeah, to me, it kind of goes back to that. It sounds too good to be true, and just there's not enough information there. And my gut's telling me like, this is not right. But you know, if he would get on there or a class, you know, or somebody would say, no, this is what you do, X, Y, and Z, and this is why. So this is the question that you keep asking. This is what you do, you know, and until, like you said, until somebody comes out of the waterworks and says, no, it don't work, or yeah, it does, and this is why, it's going to be kind of up in the air, I guess.
And I think that I think that, yeah, I think it's going to create some problems because I know banks. So, back in 2015, when I woke up, believe it or not, you could walk into a bank and shake them down and they would lose, and they would just give you the title to their car. You could go in there and say, I want to see the note. They don't have it. And they would just fold. Here you go. And that'd be the end of it. They'd hand you your title. They used to do that in 2015, but they don't do that anymore because they got smart. Too many people started walking in and doing that. Can't have that. So we had to come up with something else. And they do. And they have. Hey, David, how are you? Welcome to the call, man. Glad you're here. We have David Parsons on the call tonight. Welcome to the call. If you guys ever get a chance, he's got some pretty good stuff on his page. He's doing some truth seeking out there. He's doing some stuff, and I like what he's doing out there. So welcome to the call. And he's a pretty good painter too, from what I can tell. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I'm seeing is that I think time will tell. And one of the things that I saw too, I guess, I don't know, a couple of years ago was that realty company in New Braunfels. They were signing people up saying that they're all going to get free homes. And I think they're still standing in line trying to get those free homes. And I mean, and it's like, it just keeps evolving. I don't know what's going on over there. I'm sure you remember that. All right. So John was asking, it says, what's your thoughts on these UILs being pushed everywhere? UIL, help me out. I don't know what that is.
Like universal living, like these, almost like a insurance. They're saying that you can be your own bank. Haven't you heard
Universal
of it?
life insurance?
Yes. Okay, yes. But those things take a lot of time to mature. Those UILs, they take a lot of time. Yes, you would have to pay
like you can sign up and you're instantly bankrolled with thousands of dollars, man.
From what I've learned from those is you have to be very careful from what you're putting into your life insurance ratio, and then what your fees are as far as, you keep putting, say, $200 a month in. Well, then they take a portion of that and they use it towards the fees because they're supposed to be putting out in the S&P 500 and so forth. So it does, once you actually start getting ahead, and if you play in the game right and you're at the right ratios and stuff, it takes 20, 30 years to kind of get there. I mean, some people say it's a good little retirement, and then you listen to other people and say it's a complete scam and that the insurance people are just making nothing but their money on top. So I would just maybe try to find an advisor as far as that.
Well, you have to really be kind of set up for that. So if you're, these guys that are talking about these UILs and they're just, they're cashing in and they're putting everything in it, they're going to lose their butts. They're going to be, life insurance poor. They're going to have all their money in a life insurance, and it's going to take so long for them to mature that they'll starve waiting for it. Yeah, we don't want to do that. So there's a way to set up those UIL policies, but you've got to start kind of small and kind of just throw stuff in there and not look at it as something that's going to ride in the front seat. That's just something in the back. And that's something extra you can do. I'm certainly not opposed to doing a UIL. It's just, they don't fund like people say that they're going to fund. They really don't. Because when you start digging into them, then you start figuring out that all those people have been watching Disney Channel too long. I'm saying, right? That's what I've noticed. And this is not meant to be hateful or to upset any of those Karens out there waiting in the soccer tent right now. Y'all calm down and go back to your coffee break. Everything's going to be fine. Everything just calm down. It's all right. Anyway, I want to welcome everybody else in TikTok land. We've got actually a few people here in Facebook land, which I'm really happy to hear. I'm glad you guys are here on the call. And what we're talking about tonight is stuff that works and stuff that doesn't work. There's a lot of people that are talking about using these tax forms like they're blank checks, Natasha. And they're running around with blank minds and blank checks, and dangerous. The IRS doesn't play. If you do a frivolous filing with the IRS or send one of those things off, Send one. And what they are, when I say things, I'm talking about 1099s. And what they are is they're actually called Class 5 gift forms. We'll talk more about this in the class. But all of these forms, the W-2s, the 1099As, all of these are Class 5 gift forms. Okay, that's what they are. So when you're using these Class 5 gift forms, if you don't use them properly, the IRS will, and if they deem them frivolous, and frivolous is defined as this: if you don't know what you're doing and you're just throwing stuff against the wall to see if it's going to work, you're going to put yourself into a wreck. I'm going to tell you that now. And that wreck will cost you $5,000. Okay. And you're not getting out of it. It's just, that's it. So when you do this, you got to do it right. You got to do it honorably. This class, I'm going to help you get there. I'm going to help you set up your portfolio so that when you take this to your tax professional, they're going to know exactly what you're doing. But they're not going to understand the mechanics like I'm going to explain it. They're not going to understand that because that's not what these guys do. All of your tax preparers and CPAs, they're compartmentalized, okay? Unless it's a CPA attorney situation or just a longtime CPA, typically those people are just, they're bean counters. They just follow the path. We went through this path the last time and we completed the puzzle. They hit enter, there's your return, you're done. That's all they think about. They're not thinking about what's actually happening in the soup there. This class, I'm going to be showing you what's happening in the soup. I'm going to show you how to put this thing together so that when you do send your stuff out, you can get all that stuff back instead of paying. And the reason why we're paying is because we're not assessing everything that we have. Think about it. How many people out there are making $3,000, $4,000 a month house payments and don't report any of that to the IRS? Think about it. There's a lot of people doing that right now. And if I was receiving $3,000 to $4,000 a month on, you know, and it was just going into my bank account every single month, I guarantee you the IRS would have something to say about that. I guarantee you they'd be like, hey, that's some income right there. And that's some serious income. Huh? And they're going to want some of that. This is what happens when you're operating in your infancy and operating under the Social Security number versus operating in the private, operating in proper commercial commerce. We're going to be showing you how to do that. We're going to be showing you the difference. Those of you guys that have taken my UCC and trust class, this is definitely the class for you. Those of you guys that are operating out of trust right now, currently, you've got a home-based business, you've got a business at home, you've got any kind of stuff like that going on, this is your class, okay? I'm going to show you how to get ahead of the game. You'll know what's up, and you're not going to get in any trouble. That's the best part. Those of you guys that have been billing people all year, okay? You know, those of you guys that took my class, the debt and foreclosure class, and you've been billing these third-party debt collectors all year, I'm going to show you how to get paid on those. That's what this class is going to do. Those of you guys that are renting, okay, I'm going to show you how to get paid on those lease contracts. This is what we're going to be talking about in this class. All right, says Sean says here, it says, I have my note from paying off the house form. What do I need to turn it into the IRS? Good question. We're going to talk more about this in the class, but I will tell you it's a 1041V as in Victor. And then there's another form that needs to go on top of that form, and that will monetize that. That note, okay, as a security performed. And then you send that to the IRS to get paid because they'll take that as an advance payment. So we're going to talk about how to do that. Yeah, this is the stuff your teachers aren't teaching you. You know why? Because they're not doing it, man. They're not doing it, man. They're just sitting around watching people like me do it. They get this much of it, and then they go run down the street with their underwear on their head and say, oh, look what they did. Look what they did. And then they just drop a little bit of information, and then they burn off, and they leave you there, right? Have you noticed that, Natasha? That's how these guys roll?
Absolutely. The couple that before I found you would do the same thing, and I would ask the questions, and I'm like, did you do that yet? And they're like, no, what you talking about? And I'm like, okay. You know, so it was just basically information from here, information from there, really just couldn't, you know, back up the information and
That's
teach.
a shame.
Yeah. And then, so, I mean, and at one point, like I said before, I had just completely just given up. I was like, look, maybe it just ain't for me or whatever the case was. And then I think Yahweh said, no, here's Tim. So,
And I'm so glad that he did. I mean, because and I've had so many students, so many of you guys out there come to me just the same way. And and here's why, Natasha. It's Yahweh that woke you up. Every one of you guys that are waking up right now, I don't care if you're an atheist or not. I don't care if you never go to church. None of that matters. Your creator is the one that woke you up. The word says in the end days, there's going to be an explosion of knowledge. And I'm going to tell you, I'm 52 years old, and I have never in my lifetime seen such an explosion of knowledge. I've been playing guitar for 35 years, okay? Long time. And I see 9-year-olds playing Eddie Van Halen stuff that I still can't play. This is an example of an explosion of knowledge. Look at Neil Peart. Neil Peart is one of the best drummers in rock and roll history ever. And they got these little Chinese, little Asian, I'm going to say that, these little Asian folks, little kids, they're like 9 years old. They're sitting behind this big old kit and they're playing Neil Peart covers. And they're not missing nothing. Huh? It's because our world is changing. It's changing. And you guys, we need to change with it. Okay? We need to know this knowledge that was stuck on the top shelf. We need to know what this stuff is. And the only way you're going to know it is by following somebody that's done it. Okay? So if you're not following me, follow somebody that's done it. Stop following Chris Hauser. Stop following Crooked David. Stop following these actors. Because these people are literally here to make sure that you stumble. They're legitimately putting bad information out there so that you'll stumble. We talked about this last week, Natasha. Remember, like, you'll see these guys. If you lie to the public, there'll be 12,000 views on TikTok in a month. Look at Tim Dameron's 300 in a month. 6 weeks later, 500. Now, you would think that I'd have the same platform everybody else has, but do I? Kenneth Copeland gets more plays than I do, and he lies to everybody. Huh? Am I right? That's the blab it and grab it guy. Oh, in the name of Jesus, you can have a private airplane. He thinks he's the Price is Right. I don't know what's going on up there.
Yeah.
And it saddens me. It saddens me that these platforms will reward a heretic, a liar, and a blasphemer. They'll reward those people before they reward somebody telling the truth. Huh? Donald Trump fans, come on now. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Look at these dummies. They're running around all over the place like a bunch of dummies. They are. And then the regular ones are still running around like a bunch of dummies. So now you don't know who's doing what over there. All I know is that probably a bunch of people need to go to jail down there. That's what I know. And that would be my best guess. I'd say throw them all in jail and let Yahweh figure it out. That's what I say. Sorry, I was just kidding. That was for entertainment purposes only, not meant to hurt anybody's feeling. Karen, go back to the coffee. It's okay. So we were just kidding. Just calm down. But anyway, I'm going to thank you guys for coming to the call. Welcome, everybody. Glad that you guys have all come. We got a whole bunch of you guys on TikTok here. Please share and like the channel. Throw some of this stuff out there because people need to know the truth. People need to know that people are actually doing this stuff, okay? And that the people that are doing this are not really doing much. They're not. I mean, I know they want to, and I know in their hearts they really want to, and they want to make all this stuff really come true, but you got to understand the parameters of how this stuff works. You've got to understand that vehicle is everything. I know I keep saying vehicle. This is a metaphor, okay? You have to realize that the straw person can only do so much in commerce. The rest of it, we got to grow into that. We got to grow into that deal. Last year, I had 2 of my students actually foreclose on their lenders and take their homes from their lenders. 2 of them, one in Georgia, one in California, in Los Angeles, to be more specific. And they took my students to court and completely choked because they weren't in dishonor. They thought they were in dishonor. They thought that they could just get enough actors together put the screws on these guys and tighten them down and say, because you're in dishonor, you're in dishonor, and you're in dishonor. It's got to be true. This is using equity in the wrong direction. But when we use equity and we stand in absolute truth, our Elohim stands with us. That's Yahweh, by the way, not God. Okay? That's who stands with us. And when he's standing with you, you're unstoppable. The walls of Jericho, unstoppable. King David, unstoppable. All of these other heroes, even though they made big mistakes, just like I do, they still were able to rise above their situations and do what they needed to do. Why? Because they understood the game. They understand who the players were. They didn't throw a fit and they said, oh, they're all just ripping us off. This is terrible. Actually, the children of Israel did when they came out of Egypt. They were crying and complaining and murmuring, and Yahweh had it. The ground opened up and swallowed them up. Bye. It really happened, man. So not much has changed. Okay. And for those of you guys that are waking up and you're going to your family members and they're looking at you like you're crazy, take the dust off your feet and move on. Okay. Yahweh has a path for you, and you're not dragging your Uncle Bobby with you. You may not. Okay. Maybe husbands, those of you guys that are waking up and your wife thinks you're nuts, why don't you show her some performance? Why don't you show her something she can get behind? No woman is going to follow a parked car. Am I right, ladies? Huh? Are you ladies going to hop in the car and go follow a parked car? I don't think so. You're going to follow one that's getting down the road, that's doing what he's supposed to do. So why they like guys with big muscles and everything, because they know they can get that stuff done, you see. So looks isn't everything. But hey, performance is everything. And this is what this is all about. So those of you guys that are waking up in this process and people are thinking you're nuts, they're thinking you're nuts because there's no performance behind what you're doing. We're just doing a whole lot of talking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that offended somebody out there. I do apologize, because that's not what we're trying to do. What I'm trying to do is say that we need to set the standard a little better, because we can do it better. Natasha, you've been doing this, what, a year now? And I mean, and I've seen you grow from like this to like this. I mean, you just like, I mean, and here you are. You finished my sentences for me up here. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I've really, like you said, I have grown a lot. You know, it kind of goes back to, you know, I mean, I only went to high school, didn't go to college, but even in college, they don't teach you really about discharge, performance, equity. The only equity I ever heard was equity in the house. But it took you explaining, you know, from, you know, driving down the interstate. I done it this morning. We were all, you know, it was 50 miles an hour. We're all doing 65. I said equity, you know, as a joke, but, you know, it's just been different things. And actually, it's helped me contract at my job better. It's helped me, as far as like, oh, you know, this is, you know, it's brought a lot of stuff to light, you know, as far as using, different addresses, I mean, like every company uses a PO box, you know, why is that? You know, you learn that in your class, you know? And then, so I had bought a boat, and then they refinanced it, and and I was like, oh, okay, no, that's cool. You know, I just keep writing you the check. Well, I didn't realize they were contracting with me. You know, I learned that in your class. So it's been a delight and just an honor just to be able to grow and learn. So it's
awesome.
really fun.
Well, now you've got, and I'm going to, we'll talk a little bit. Just tell me if I'm going too far, but just say, Tim, shut up. Don't talk about that. It's cool, because I won't mind, and I'll just talk about something else, take my licks and go home. It's fine. But, just beyond the eggshells, just go easy on me if I step into the roses. Okay. But anyway, we were talking earlier before we got on the call, because we do that. We conspire. That's right. We get on the call. We usually conspire, kind of get a little warmed up as to what we're going to talk about tonight. And one of the things that we were having a kind of a private conversation about, but I won't go into much detail, but Natasha's actually building a house right now. And now what they were telling her is because she's subcontracting this thing out on her own, and she's writing the checks to do this. So what she's doing is she's doing it, and the bank has told her that they're going to fund this in stages. Now in my class, this class coming up on the 23rd, we're going to talk about bid and performance bonds. And the reason that they're going to be funding this in pieces like this is so that the bank can generate the money by performance. We're going to talk about how this is actually done. You guys have seen this like out on the streets, right? When you see like a bond project, when they're going to fix 43 miles of highway somewhere and they got all those big orange signs everywhere and it says this has been approved by, well, what they're doing is they're giving public notice. Because if you can give public notice, you can move in equity. Because now the public said it's okay. Because nobody said it wasn't okay. I mean, not like there's a place or a booth you could stop at the sign and say, hey, man, this isn't okay. Let's go ahead and sign this thing up. No, there's no opportunity for that. But the logistics of it is that they're moving in equity. So the sign is up to give public notice that this is what they're doing. And so now the public sees what they're doing. Let's talk about another aspect of this, and we'll talk about this in class. Football players, baseball players, and their stats. Same thing. They've got how many home runs did they do last year or whatever. I don't watch sports. So, and all that stuff. It's something about dudes in tight pants. It just doesn't, I'm sorry, gentlemen. I can't watch it. I just can't. It's just like a reverse strip club thing. I just can't do it. And they always got those messed up names like the Packers and the Browns. And I can't watch football. I just can't do it. I just can't. But anyway, but you'll see this in these people that are playing sports, that they're always keeping track of their stats. And they'll put it on a baseball card. They'll put it on a whatever card. They'll put it on, a Topps thing or something. And this is to give public notice so that next year, when Joe Blow football player runs 90 more touchdowns than he did the year before, they can show performance, go to the treasury and get paid again. We're going to talk about how that works. That's a whole nother world for some of y'all out there. And I'm going to show you about it. I'm going to show you about it. I'm going to tell you about it. And I'm going to show you how it works. Okay. This is going to be a powerful class. Now, if you guys are interested in getting in this class, call my office tomorrow. Go to my website, houseofyah.communityoutreach.com, and go to my website. My office number is there. Just call my office directly. Usually I tell people set an appointment, but you may not have time to set an appointment. Just call my office tomorrow between the hours of 9 and 4 p.m. Central Time. And hopefully I'll be available. I should be. And I can take your call. Obviously, I won't be able to if I'm on another call, but I'll try to call you back as best I can. Jump on there. What's the number? That's a good question. I never call my office. Hold on a second. I don't know. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. I do know. Oops. I do know. The office number direct. Oh, no. That's not it. That's not the office number direct. Hold on a second. What is the office number? I don't know it. Do you know what it is by chance? Let me go to can somebody go to the website and tell me? I forget what the number is. I'm embarrassed. We just changed it in my defense and in my old age. We just changed it. So I apologize, everybody. But we'll get that number for you. I think it's 210-604 something.
It's 210-605 0144.
Yep. That's 210-605-0144. Thank you for looking that up. And I hope you guys got that. 210-605-0144, right? Anyway. All right. Yep, that's it. Thank you. Thanks for posting that, everybody. Call my office tomorrow if you guys want to get signed up for this class. I've only got 3 seats. And if you guys want to get into the next class, we may do one next month. So we can set you up for that too. We can actually set up a time for that too. Those of you guys that are wanting to take the UCC and Trust class, we do have another class that is scheduled in November. Hold on. All right. It is going to be November the 5th and 6th. So those of you guys that are wanting to set up your vehicles, set up your bank accounts, get this foundation thing on the road, It's a 2-day class, 6 hours, 3 hours a day. We got a class coming up on the 5th and 6th, and the classes are $475 a class. It covers 2 days, 6 hours a class, and more importantly, you get copies of the class, you get copies of the documents. Obviously, there's a ton of information, and if you have any problems, if you need to get with me, if you need to ask me questions from here or 8 years from now, I'll be here. I've been doing this since 2016. So, and I've been here all this time for my students. So I'll continue to be here for you guys as you guys need help. Happy to do it. This is what we do. Okay. Thank you. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you, good man. He was a good God man. He said that that's a good price, and I know that you're thorough. Oh yeah, I'm very thorough. We break it down big time. And if you guys have questions, you can ask. You can ask all the questions you want. Nobody's going to yell at you. Nobody's going to cuss at you. Nobody's going to talk crazy. We're just going to answer your question, or we can't. But that hasn't happened yet. I haven't had anybody stump me just yet. Any other questions, comments? Anybody else out there? What time of the class is between 6 and 9? Or wait a minute. Okay, so the mail class is going to be, and that's the firm mailing book class, teaching you guys how to use the firm mailing book. That's going to be on the 22nd. That's tomorrow, from 6 to 8. It's a 2-hour class. It's only $125. That's a great class. The 23rd is going to be from 6 to 10 p.m. It's going to be a 4 to 5 hour class. And yes, I do take PayPal. Let's see. Yes, we do absolutely take PayPal. Go to my website. We do PayPal. We've got Cash App and Venmo. So, and then my Venmo is Timothy-Damron-2, I believe, something like that. But go to my website. It's definitely there. House of Yah, communityoutreach.com. And just click on workshops. You'll see everything that's going on. Call my office tomorrow. Okay. I want to talk to you guys first before you take my class. Don't go in and go signing up for the class. Just hold what you got. Talk to me first. And the reason why is because every one of these classes are personal. There's a lot of information to cover. So after I talk to you and I figure out exactly what you're trying to accomplish, this is where I can tailor these classes to meet your specific needs. This is why we keep the classes nice and small. I like to keep them under 5 people because I want to make sure that we get that condensed information. I want to make sure that you don't have any questions that, need to be answered. So what if we can stay for the whole class? It is recorded to play later. Yes, absolutely. So if you're not able to stay in the class, you're going to get copies of the class. So I'm going to send you video copies of the class. We meet on a Zoom platform. It's actually called Dialpad, but it's the same thing, same principle. I've been with them for years, and I'll send you a copy of the class. You're going to get obviously all the templates and materials. Okay. And then of course, if you need anything from me, if you need any counseling, if you need help with your paperwork, anything like that, please set an appointment with me. Go back to the webpage. You can do that for life. There's never a charge for that. And my thoughts are this: if you're willing to let us make an investment in you, and you with your donation, you know what? I'm here to make sure you finish this race. I'm here to make sure you guys win. Okay. It makes me nauseous when I see the stuff happening on TikTok and I see people just losing. I'm not over here chuckling, man. I'm crying. It hurts me. It genuinely hurts me to see how disabled we really are, and it really upsets me even more to see our vets being disabled like they are, because they're the ones that could take this thing back. They're the ones that could stop all this nonsense. They're the ones that could make these politicians act right. But what are they doing? They're disabling them. They're stretching their rubber band so hard that they can't come back again. And when they don't come back, they just leave them on the street somewhere. That's not okay. Absolutely not okay. This is why we do what we do, is to educate the public and to help our homeless vets. So in advance, I thank you guys all for your support and your time today. Thank you all for being on the call tonight. Wow, look at all the folks on the call tonight. There's so many of you guys on here. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us, by the way. I so appreciate it. I've been doing this 8 years, and nobody's saying, "Oh, Tim's full of it." They're just not, because it's not out there. It's just not happening. Now, I'm sure somebody's probably not happy, but that's just law of averages. Generally speaking, no, there isn't. Why aren't they talking you down for providing this information? Here's why. Do you remember what I told you just a second ago? If you have the right vehicle, you can go anywhere, huh? Except for the moon. You can't go there. I promise. I don't care what they said. They're lying. And Mars too. You can't go there either. They're full of it. That's too much turmeric or something. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, no, what I'm saying is that if you have the right vehicle, you can go anywhere. And this is the right vehicle. So what I learned was, as a minister, I can sit on the pulpit and say anything I want because I have a fiduciary duty to the public to help the public. So if I say abortion's bad, it is. Why? Because that's my position. That's my vehicle. This is what happens when you have a 501(c)(3). You get to stand up and you get to beat on your chest and you get to say these things. So the reason, now, don't get me wrong, they shadow ban me like crazy. Yes. Oh, my website, House of Yah, communityoutreach.com. I know it's long. I apologize. Look forward to talking to you. Oh, they do. They try to silence me, my friend. Oh, yeah. If you want to Google my name, you'll see I have a lawsuit with Houston County, Texas. They tried to silence me, too. And now they have a $13.8 million lawsuit sitting in their front door. Hey, Matt, you have a great night, buddy. Thanks for being on the call. Thank you for being here. Oh, yes, they do. And I defunded their entire sheriff's department, too. That's right. And their jail is closed. And they lost their TCOT certification. They can't carry guns either. Real results, real solutions. Real results, real solutions. I've done it. So and that's the difference between me and the rest of these guys. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just telling you, this is what happens when you're doing 8.5 years of this and you're actually doing it. So yeah, when they come, and they will come, if you stand up tall enough, they will come and they'll shut you down. Look at Lance Phillips. I love those guys, but Lance is sitting in jail right now. Did he make some mistakes? I think so. Was he trying to do the right thing? Yes. Here's the problem. You got to walk a really fine line when you go to war with these people. A very fine line, because if you don't, they'll cut you. Absolutely, I brought him down. Bandera, Texas tried the same thing too. Bye-bye. Yeah, we took them out too. And they just really got ticked off because I got a little judge. I mean, a very small judge. Just the magistrate judge and his clerk got fired. Yeah. You guys take my classes. We'll teach you how to do all that stuff. I'll teach you about administrative claims. Any of you guys out there ever foreclosed on your lenders, taking their property from them? I have. Take my classes, man. Go to my website. Trust me. You're going to see I got the fruits. I've been doing this for a minute. Definitely. Oh, yeah. And yes, they keep me very quiet. So please, if you guys go to my TikTok page, Real Results, Real Solutions, please share my videos like crazy. Oh, you'll make the state nationals so mad at me. They'll probably want to come over and assault me again. I don't care. It's fine. They can come over. Yahweh is the one that takes care of me. And after that vicious assault, and it was a vicious assault, I was completely healed in 7 days. That was Yahweh that did that. And I don't know anybody can do that. I'm serious. So, if you're walking on the side of right, you can move mountains, my friend. You can move them and throw them right into the sea every time. Keystone Cops. Yeah, they came to my house and attacked me. You know why? Because I was exposing their stuff and I was showing them how these affidavits for repudiation of your citizenship and all that stupid stuff isn't going to work. And why it put most of these guys on a government watch list. So I assure you, these people are angry and they're upset. Yeah, they found out exactly where I live. They came to my house and attacked me. And then they put it on YouTube. Then they put it on TikTok. I mean, the stupid is as stupid does. Told it on himself. And here was the funny thing about all that. Old Kenny Plaster there never got charged or arrested. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Hold on. Oh, stop it. Hold on. There we go. I had to move the little piece to the puzzle into the thing. Otherwise, it gets all upset. But, oh, yeah, they totally came to my house. What suit for what? He's a government informant. There, I said it. The state national movement, these guys are a Trojan horse movement. Oh, I know. I said it now. Oh, shit, they're coming to get me now. But you know what? Anytime. You've done nothing to me that Castro hasn't already done, my friend. And you want to ride the lightning? Come on by. Anytime. Be happy. And here's what happened. These guys were never charged. And the reason they were never charged is because they're obviously work for the government. They're obviously doing some kind of snitch work. So be careful, okay? Test everything. Make sure that these people have fruits. Make sure that they don't have any problem answering your questions. Make sure you know what their real name is. Make sure they don't have some stupid name like the Hood Lawyer or something dumb like that. Because if they're not telling you their name, they're already lying to you. They're grooming you to lie to you right then. Absolutely, I could have shot him. Absolutely. It was a very uncomfortable situation. And because I knew that they had some kind of government something or another behind them. Actually, I was supposed to speak on the 2nd in Austin. I was supposed to speak at the Judicial Commission, and somebody told me that wouldn't be a real good idea. Very quietly, yeah. So I get those calls. I do, but it's all good, man. It's all good. Oh, there's plenty you can do to retaliate, but there's a way to play this game and there's a way to win this game. And what you've got to do is find that balance in the middle. Okay. You can play the game, but make sure you play the game to win the game. I'm not understanding your question. From the government? I'm not understanding. Oh, yeah. Probably a good idea. I do move somewhere. Who knows? I probably did. Yeah. That's just kind of how this stuff works out. Anyway, any other questions, comments? I think we're going to close it up tonight. What is my office number? Go to my website because I don't know it. Unless somebody wrote it down. I think somebody wrote it down. If you look in the traction here, they'll tell you what the call is. It's 210-605-0144, I believe. Is that right?
Yep, it is.
Hey, man, those vitamins are working. I can remember things now. Wow, man, that's wild. There we go. Thank you, man. Yeah, 210-605-0144. Give me a call tomorrow at my office between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Central Time. I will be available. I look forward to talking with you guys. A 508c1a is great, but you got to be public. You got to be internally funded to do that. Okay. And we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about how those things work. So I'm going to thank all of you guys for being on the call tonight. This has been a total blast. Natasha, you're amazing. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I'm like you. I have really enjoyed with my time with everybody and with you, and learning more as always, and looking forward to some more classes and learning more.
That's right.
I just thank you for your time, and it's just an honor to be here.
Wow. I'm so flattered. Thank you. Hey, Sean, thank you for being our guest on the side over there. Did you have anything you wanted to add to? Hey, brother, you're here, so go ahead, man.
Your class, will you show us where to get the forms? I mean, do we have to mail the IRS and get these 1099 forms?
Oh, no. I'm going to show you guys how to set this thing up. So you just give it to your tax preparer. They do it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't have to do this yourself. No, that's dumb. We make them do it. Much smarter. Yeah.
You talking
Trust
about?
me, you'll be in. I know you're going to be in the class, so you're taking the class because I got a seat for you in there. So I know you'll be in the class, so you're good to go. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can you do this through H&R Block or
Absolutely.
TurboTax or?
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be able to hand this portfolio over to anybody, and they'll understand exactly what you're talking about, which is what these other teachers out there aren't doing. You know, it's like they're speaking Chinese and they go ho 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 ho, and then you go in there and these tax preparers look at you like, press 2 for Spanish. That ain't it, man. So anyway, guys, if you guys are interested in taking the class, I got limited seating. Call my office tomorrow. I'd love to meet with you first. You guys be super blessed. Thank you so much for being on the call. Thank you, guys, all of y'all. Natasha, you're amazing. You guys have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Y'all have a wonderful evening.